Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory MyNBA here in NBA 2K26. So in last episode, if you did not catch it, we had the second round of the playoffs. Unfortunately, we lost, but it was a really good learning experience for guys because obviously getting to the second round in our first ever playoff run is definitely, I'd say, a success. We did go up against a really tough Sacramento Kings team, and they took us to school, so to speak. In some of those games, we lost by a large margin. So there's definitely a lot of room for improvement, but I do think we're going to get a lot of good growth this offseason from guys like Evans, so I'm very excited to see how they develop. Also, hopefully this draft class, we could find some more players that could help fill out our depth a bit, because right now on our roster, I think the main areas that we need to really address is we need to think about guys like Carroll and also guys like Westbrook, for instance, getting up there in age a bit. Obviously, Westbrook's only 25, Carroll's 27, but we don't really have a secondary point guard, for instance. We don't have a secondary power forward. And if one of these guys gets injured, obviously we'd be in a very bad spot. So I think obviously finding another power forward just because Lloyd isn't going to really develop is probably a really important thing for us to do in this episode. And then also finding another point guard just because if Carroll gets hurt, like I said, that would be obviously detrimental to this team. But the good thing with Carroll right now is I don't think he's super injury prone. I don't know if I could take a look at his durability somewhere. Let's see, attributes. Does it say his durability on this page or no? Because I'm kind of curious on how often he gets injured. Looks like it doesn't. I guess it would probably show that on his own individual page, but I don't think he gets injured super much. Like, I'm pretty sure he played most of the season this year. Like, if we actually go to his player stats, I guess, as his career's gone on, from his career standpoint. Can I see how many games he's played? Not really. I feel like he didn't really miss a lot of games anyways, but we hope that he doesn't get injured, but it obviously could happen at some point. I don't think it has yet, but it could still. The one I'm worried about, obviously, a little bit more so is Westbrook, because Westbrook has been injured a lot the last few seasons. So I think, obviously, since he's been a little bit more injury prone, finding a backup power forward just to basically give us another really good potential prospect is something we need to look into. Obviously, we're going to be drafting a lot later in this episode than we ever have before. So we might not get super good players, but I'm hoping still to find something in those areas of need. So anyways, with that said, I think we're ready to get into this offseason. There was no comments in last episode as of this recording. So I think we're ready to get through this. Obviously, we're going to get through the entire offseason in this episode, and then we'll prime up next season and see what our lineup is looking like at that point. Like I said, I think we're going to get some really good growth because we still have some really young players actually on our roster. Let me show you guys this as well while we're at it. So guys like Evans obviously should get a shit ton of growth, being only 19 years old and being a first overall pick with A- potential. Lloyd, I don't know if he'll really grow much. I think he'll probably stay the same because he only has C+ potential. But guys like Goodwin could even grow a decent amount because he's got that B+ potential. Semenko could still be growing. Wright could be still growing. Like a lot of the guys that are in our starting rotation could definitely still be growing. So I really hope that we get some really good results with the growth on this team. So anyways, let's get to the player retirement, see who retires this season. I'm pretty sure Jokic was one of them. Yeah, that's what I thought, because he had that farewell tour at the beginning of the season. So he retires after 17 seasons, all of them with the Nuggets. Turner retires with the Pelicans. Kind of weird that he went to the Pelicans. Zach LaVine also retires to OG. So some pretty solid players, of course. Then it drops off considerably, but Jalen Brunson being one of them. Didn't play as long as some of the other guys, but 14 years in the NBA. One of the better players out there for sure. And yeah, it's basically the major retirements. All right. Any retired numbers? I would assume. Actually, Hall of Fame. I will find that out soon. I guess I'm gonna guess that for sure. Jokic. I could see Zach LaVine having his number retired too potentially, but honestly, not sure who else will. Probably Brunson. Tough to say. So first and foremost, let's get to the staff retirements and see if any big staff retired. So Kenny Atkinson, the head coach of the Cavaliers, has retired after 23 years. Doug Christie is retired with Sacramento. Damn. So Sacramento lost their head coach after they just lost in the NBA Finals because they actually got to the finals after they beat us too. So that could be a substantial loss for them, and that could help them regress a little bit if they don't find as good of a replacement for him. The Pacers head scout retired. Some assistant GMs and stuff retiring. Lakers CFO has retired. And Sacramento's assistant GM has also retired. So Sacramento lost a bit of their staff, which is interesting. A lot of staff people actually retired this year, even guys like Freddie Person as a head scout. And then this Andrew Cowan's guy too. So yeah, a lot of staff retiring this year, but luckily for us, we didn't lose anybody. All right, Hall of Fame inductees. Jokic is definitely a Hall of Famer, I would assume. Yep. Jokic is the only Hall of Famer from this class, so no Brunson, but makes sense that Jokic would be a Hall of Famer. Crazy good player, like almost averaging a triple-double every single game. So shout out to Nikola Jokic. And in jersey retirements, obviously that means Jokic as well. And yep, Brunson will get his number retired as well by the New York Knicks. Makes sense. Makes sense. So number 11 has been retired by New York and number 15 by Denver. The cool thing is, I think now in this mode, if I'm not mistaken, you actually get to see those numbers in the rafters when when you actually watch games, if I'm not mistaken. So that's pretty cool if that is the case. But yeah, those guys retire. So go through that. Now we get into league meetings. Any new rule changes or anything that got approved that we need to reject or what? Nope, they all got rejected, but looks like there was just fouls going up to 9. Backcourt violations won't be called. Damn, that's kind of interesting. I don't think it makes sense really to take out backcourt violations, but that's an interesting one. That means you could just run back into your own zone basically with the ball if you wanted. Opposing teams will enter the bonus, blah, blah, don't care about the bonus that much. Abolish the salary cap. 17 actually said yes, 14 said no, but it got rejected. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting one. I don't know if I would like having the salary cap getting abolished technically, because then there would be some super teams out there. Violations in a key when instated will be called after 5 seconds. Oh, that's just when you're standing in the key for 5 seconds instead. That's not a crazy thing, but let's advance past that. Okay, next up is a draft lottery. Normally, we would really care about this draft lottery, but we honestly don't because we don't have a draft lottery selection this year. So I'm kind of curious still on who's going to win it. We're not going to do the slow approach. We're just going to skip through it just so we could see it who ends up winning faster. But the best odds are the Cavs, the Bucks, and the Warriors. So the Golden State Warriors could have a good chance at it. Also, the Lakers have a good chance. Brooklyn's got a good chance. Some solid teams in real life nowadays, like the Warriors, the Lakers, the Bucks, the Cavs, and the Nuggets, all have really high selections potentially. So kind of interesting on that. The fact that OKC has a pick at 13 is kind of surprising too to me. But let's find out who ends up winning the draft lottery. And is it going to be a team that has low odds? Probably not. But who is going to end up with the really good player potentially in this class? Because I'm pretty sure it's an 85 overall at least, maybe an 83. But regardless, the guy that's supposed to go first is going to be looking like a really good talent. So kind of curious on where he'll end up. Hopefully not in our conference or in our division for that matter. So let's see who ends up winning the lottery for the season. It's going to be Brooklyn. So the Brooklyn Nets will have the first overall selection, followed by the Milwaukee Bucks. I almost said Miami Bucks because Miami Heat are right next to them. But so that means the Heat, I think, had only like an 8% chance, but they moved into the top 3. The Bucks and Brooklyn both, I'm pretty sure, had lottery odds to get them. Actually, no, they didn't. Where did the Nets move from? I might have to throw that up on screen on where they moved from, but I know the Cavs and Warriors were both in that top 3 originally too. So I guess the Nets and the Heat moved into that top 3. The Bucks stayed where they were. But we will be drafting all the way back at, where is it? Oh, 17th. Hey, that's actually not as bad as a selection as I thought. I thought we would have been selecting even later, but I guess it's based on regular season in that sense. It's not based on how far you get in the playoffs. Potentially, maybe it does, but drafting 17th, we're going to be able to grab ourselves hopefully something decent with that selection. Like I said, hopefully in one of those areas of need, power forward, point guard. Maybe there's other positions too we could look at, but I think those are the ones I want to look at the most. So that's interesting. Okay. Oh, wait, does it show it there? No, what the heck why does it show on the bottom and the top? I don't know. I was trying to see if I could figure out how far Brooklyn moved, but oh well. Okay, staff signing period. Let's get back our staff. We have everybody under contract still, which is good for another 1 to 2, sometimes 3 years. Our current head coach is only on board for 1 more year, so we got to make sure that we re-sign him next season because I think he's been a really good coach for his team. So hopefully we could get Ethan Dennis back next year. But let's advance past that because we already have everybody back. We don't need to worry about bringing our staff back. So let's hop on over to the draft combine and see what we're working with. So we'll probably still try and find a steal here, like I said, for the actual draft. Let's actually look at each position here a little bit more individual. So for point guards, the fastest is Lucas Burks, in both lane agility time and sprinting. Vertical, it's going to be Terry Price. Benching, it's going to be this house dude. All right. Standing is going to be Walton, Alexander, Boomer Smalls. What a name. What a name, Boomer Smalls. He's like a small boom. Boom, boom. Or whatever the hell that those kids say nowadays. I don't even know. Lucas Burks, Jonathan Holland, and Terry Price. Terry Price sounds like Carey Price. That's interesting. All right, so that's point guards. What about power forwards? Let's compare these guys a little bit. Watson. Jeez, I can barely talk. I went to bed late as hell last night. The Blue Jays game went 18 innings, so just a heads up if I sound really tired. Watson again there. Mills is the best for vertical lead. Best for benching is Rasheed Watson again. So Watson might be a really good power forward. Duncan there. Landry, Forbes, Sonnet, Wilcox, and Wilcox again. Interesting. So I saw Watson's name appear a few times, but he's not even fully scouted, I don't think, right? Yeah, he's not even fully scouted. He actually doesn't really look that great on paper. D+ overall. So yeah, he's probably not a guy to actually draft, but how about all together with all positions? Who's the fastest? It's Chucky Mason. Then it's Doyle Pickett on there. Rick Mason, so a couple Mason guys. Jackson Patton, Jeffrey Oliver, Doug Ellis Alexander, Chucky Mason again, Lucas Burks, Luther Wilcox, and Terry Price again. Yeah, I'm not really too sure. Like I said, I think we still need to look at point guards and power forwards, but I'm not too sure how much of them have been even fully scouted yet. I'm kind of curious on what the draft board has us taking, so we should probably do that too. Let's go to that draft board and just see what they would recommend us taking, potentially like in the mock drafts. So the mock drafts right now, obviously the 85 high overall guy is supposed to go first overall, as you'd expect. Chucky Mason's supposed to go early. They recommend us at 17 taking Jonathan Holland as a point guard. Like I said, point guard is an area of need, so Jonathan Holland could be that guy. He's more of a defensive point guard, though. B- defense, C+ offense. He looks like he's going to be like around a 70 overall at 21. So he could be interesting, but is he the guy? I'm not too sure. Aside from that, we move to 2K. 2K says we're going to take a center in Stuart Snow. I don't think we really need a center, but he looks okay. More defensively minded again as well. Kind of a cool name. And then lastly, NBA.com has us taking Damian Flanders, who is another center, and he is also a 72 at 23. Yeah, I don't really think we need centers that bad. Like, technically, I guess if you look at a roster again on paper, technically, I guess if our center does go down in Bishop, we do still need probably another center. So, I guess technically center, point guard, power forward, all a thing of need. If we could find a power forward that also plays center, that could also work. The good thing for Westbrook is he does also play center. So, if for some reason Bishop was to get injured this year, and Westbrook was healthy, we could always use Westbrook as that center, and maybe we'll find another power forward we could actually use at power forward, or maybe somebody like Semenko can move to power forward because he can play power forward, same with Evans. So we do have a lot of flexibility with the guys in our starting rotation, I think. So we will probably still look for power forwards anyways, and also a point guard option, but maybe centers is something we could look at as well, just in case. All right, pre-draft workouts. Let's see who we want to put on this list. I don't know if I should go off rankings or not. Let's just send a bunch of power forwards and point guards as well. Technically, the best point guard based on overall right now looks like it might be Brevin Robinson, but I'm not too sure, to be honest, if there's going to be a really good option for us at these positions. So let's do 5 point guards, and we'll also do 5 power forwards. Let's do a 6th one. Nope. Oh, we'd get 10. That's perfect. Okay. 5 and 5 we'll do, and we will just compare these guys a little bit. Walton's the fastest. Grimes is tied with Holland there. Vertical, it's Price. Bench, it's Grimes. Riley, Grimes, Price, Walton, Holland, and Nunnally. So the one I'm seeing a name pop up the most is guys like Walton, Holland, Price, and Grimes, I think. So it could be one of those guys that we end up drafting. We'll have to figure that out. So yeah, I'm not too sure still who we're drafting, but I guess it really depends on who ends up going before our selection. So with that said, let's get to the 2032 draft. I hope we can at least find a good player here. We probably won't be getting anybody with super high potential. Like we could get a B plus potential, B minus potential, but I'm just hoping for somebody decent enough to keep adding more depth to this roster, just in case of guys getting injured, of course. So let's find out how good this draft is. I guess since we're drafting 17th, we could go through this faster if we want to, but we are obviously going to just have it... we'll just have it simulate 30's pick. Enable automatic draft advancement. Yeah, let's do that, sure. So that way we could just see these AI teams making their selections. So Cardinal on his way to Brooklyn. Milwaukee's at 2. They take Bob Spencer, which I don't even know who that is. So interesting. The Heat will take Aaron Blair. What about Golden State at 4? They will make a trade. Golden State has traded the 4th overall selection and a top 3 protected pick for next year for Tijan Saloon and James Cox. I feel like I remember James Cox getting drafted, if I remember right. But the Charlotte Hornets will take the 4th overall selection from them, so that's kind of interesting. All right, so the Hornets are now on the clock. They will select center Jackson Patton. Okay, that's interesting. So he might be a replacement for Chip Parker at some point, I think it said. Kaya Izzet goes to the Cavs. Denver the LA Lakers at 6. They take Doyle Pickett as a small forward. Now we'll get to Denver's pick, which they take power forward Paul Riley. Okay, so there's one of the power forwards off the board. Hornets now will also have 9 as Chucky Mason goes at number 8. I thought I saw him up there higher, so he might be a really good steal. And there goes Nunnally as well, who we might have had interest in going to the Hornets. Now the Suns will take Lonnie Cook, who's a shooting guard. Boston on the board will take Johnny C. Augustine as a small forward. We have the Pacers taking Brevin Robinson as a point guard. Damn it, man, that might have been one of the ones I was looking at. OKC next on the clock will take center Alex White with an Asante U or something on top of that A. That's interesting. There's another trade to announce. As the 14th overall selection has been traded to the Cavs, or is it traded to Portland? I guess it's traded to the Cavs with Victor Nance, Trey Mann, and a 2034 first rounder, lottery protected, goes the opposite direction. So a bit of a pick swap kind of trade. I don't even understand this one fully, but I guess Trey Mann will help out Portland a little bit. So that's probably why. All right. We're almost on the clock here soon, which is good. Point guard Jermaine Walton going to the Cavs. That's not great because that's a guy I maybe was looking at too. Now we'll go through this a little bit slower because we're almost at our selection. Houston on the clock. We'll take small forward Ulf Anderson from Sweden. So there goes a super Swede to the Rockets. Next up is the Knicks on the clock. What are they going to select? They're going to make another trade. So there's been 3 trades in this draft, which is interesting. What is this trade? The Golden State Warriors have acquired that 16th overall pick and a 2nd round pick for 2033. Pacome Dadier is on his way to the Knicks. Yeah, he's on his way to the Knicks. That's kind of weird because he was a Knick before, so I guess he went to Golden State and then now he's a Knick again. Huh. Interesting. So Dadier for a 1st and a 2nd. Okay. So Golden State is back on the clock again. What will they select now? They select center Uros Bilic from Slovenia. Okay. So now we're on the board here, and now comes the interesting thing of what the hell do we select? There is those centers available to us, but like I said, I think power forward's more what we're looking towards. Just in case Westbrook gets hurt again, we need to have a safety option. And this guy could also play center too, so it might be between Sid Grimes and Edward Carroll. It will give us our 2nd Carroll of the team, which would be kind of funny. Edward Carroll is 21 years old, looks more defensively minded. Doesn't look the best offensive based on what I'm seeing right now, but if we look at the comparison, starter bench for him, which is not terrible, but there might be some better options out there. Sid Grimes as a power forward is bench, so probably not great to take Grimes. Probably Carroll would be the better option at this point. What about these centers that are supposed to go beforehand? Snow is a starter bench. Henderson Jr. starter bench. And then Damian Flanders is a starter bench as well. So I'm leaning towards Carroll right now just because starter bench is probably the best we're going to get here. But we could definitely take a look and see if there's anybody with all-star bench, which doesn't really look like it except for Ellis Payne. You know what? He actually doesn't look that bad. He's not fully scouted yet, though. That's the worrisome part. He's not supposed to go to late first round. He's a small forward. Oh, actually, never mind. It just went off there. Where is he? I hate that it gets rid of him. Oh, there he is. He is a power forward, yeah. That's an interesting one. Do we want to take a risk that he's actually not that good? He could be a bench and not an all-star bench. But it says is a solid, or is a defensive presence in the post solid throughout. Promising shot blocker and defender, could develop into an all-star today. All-star someday, good potential. But he does have weakness in terms of offensive anticipation, and also his fundamentals need to improve. I'm not really too sold on him because he's not 100% scouted, so, Based on what it's saying on the grade department, it's guessing that he's going to be a good perimeter defender, which does fit our team pretty much. His post defense is okay, but three-point shooting might not be that bad. He might fit our team a decent amount, which is kind of nice, but I don't really know if his potential is actually only a C- or not. Let's go back up to the other dude in Carroll, who was starter bench. He has like a bunch of C's. His playmaking's pretty trash. He's really good post defensively and rebounding, which doesn't really fit our team fully, but he might be the best of the bunch, so he might be the best. And also looks like he might have a B potential. I'm leaning towards Carroll right now, potentially, even though the other guy could be better. It's just I don't know for a fact if he is. This guy, let's see, some good amount of strength. Slow to grasp new offensive, appears unaware, doesn't have any medical issues. His position rank is third, technically out of power forwards there is. I'm feeling like Edward Carroll might be the guy for me. I feel like he might. It's tough to say, though. Let's see if there's any other all-star bench people to look into. All-NBA. Terry Price. Oh, that's Terry Price still. He doesn't really look that great, to be honest, though. C pluses and stuff like that. It would be nice to have another point guard, like I said, too, but he might slip through the cracks to a later round. There's also John Kersey as a shooting guard, small forward. We don't really need that. Any other all-star bench, maybe, guys? No. Yeah, I think we're going to just go for the power forward at this point. I think we're going to take Edward Carroll here, and he'll be our next power forward behind Westbrook. Hopefully he has a good potential, so that way he's not like that other power forward that we currently have in Lloyd. So I'm honestly not too sure what else to take at this point. I could go off the board and take that other power forward, but I don't know for a fact if he's going to be good. This guy's 100% scouted. He's one of the younger players out of the bunch too, so that might help things a bit. But let's go with Edward Carroll. It's nice that he can play power forward and center, so I will take him with our selection. Honestly, I have no idea if that's a good pick or not, but we'll obviously have to find that out here soon too. But yeah, I think that's probably what we want to lean towards is those type of players. Anyways, he's from San Jose State. What about him, though? Rob Mahoney says, love this pick right here for the Ice Tigers. With his game, I could easily see Carroll being a solid contributor for the Ice Tigers for the next decade minimum. So he thinks that he has a good potential based on that, and that he could also have some good longevity to his career. So I think that's a good selection, but obviously we don't know exactly yet. So with that said, let's simulate to our next pick, which is in the second round, of course, and see if we could find something here on point guard, because point guard's another area of need. Like I said, Rudolph Jenkins is still there as a power forward, but I want kind of a point guard, I feel like, at this point, but I'm not sure if there's a good one out there. This guy's 80% scouted. He's the highest scouted point guard we have in his class. He could be a starter bench, which is better than nothing. It's probably good just to have an extra backup option in case, even if he isn't good. What is his grades maybe looking like? Good perimeter defense. Mid-range shooting and inside scoring might be decent. Potential looks not the greatest, though. But I think he could kind of help out with our depth scoring a little bit based on the fact that he could play the same type of defensive style, potentially. And then also the fact that he might have some okay scoring. Now, he isn't fully scouted, so it might not be guaranteed. But I'm just going to take a random chance on this guy since we just need point guards, I feel like, at this point in time. I just don't think there's really anybody else worth taking. Like, these 100% guys maybe are worth taking, but we need a point guard, and we just drafted a power forward already. So I think, yeah, we're going to go for Kelvin Buchanan. I think he's probably the point guard we want to go with. Yeah, he's the last like guy that might have C overall rating. So he's probably going to be like a 68, maybe even lower than that. But let's take him. It would be cool to take Boomer Smalls, but he looks like he's not going to be very good. I don't think, at least. It would be funny to take him just for the memes, but let's go with Kelvin Buchanan because I honestly have no idea at this selection. So 6'5", 213. Also, second rounders are complete crapshoots, and the fact that we're drafting so late in the second round, this could be ended up being one of those picks that's not very good. But let's see what they have to say about good old Kelvin Buchanan. I don't even know where the school is that he plays in, but let's see how good he is. Well, looking at the current Ice Tigers roster, I'm not sure where Buchanan fits into the jigsaw puzzle. I expect he'll be spending some time in the G League this upcoming season to hone his craft. So they don't think he's good enough to really be on our roster that he might be in the G League, but that might not be a bad thing to get him into the G League, at least then he'll be playing and all that. So we'll see if we end up doing that or not, but honestly, I have no idea how good he is. This could be a really weak draft in the second round. So let's simulate to the end of the draft now. And let's see if we made the right call, at least with our first round pick. So here's a look at the first round of the draft anyways. So yeah, there was an 85 overall that went first to Brooklyn. That's absolutely absurd of an overall. Like, he's almost as good as technically some of our high-end players right now. And he just went first. And he also does have an A- potential. So yeah, this guy's going to be a beast. There's a lot of good centers out there in the league at this point. Spencer was a 74 at 19. Then you also had Blair's a 76 at 21. Patton and Izzet are both 75. Same with Pickett. All right, let's see. Hopefully we made the right call with our selection as we're getting close to there's Walton 72, Ulf Anderson, Billich 71 for Carroll at 21. Right around pretty much where he's probably supposed to go. But let's see what that potential's like. So inside scoring and his scoring in general is pretty bad, but his post defending and rebounding is good, like our scouts were saying. So yeah, he's a good post defender and rebounder, but he's not going to do much for us offensively off the hop. But he could come off the bench and help us with those rebounds and help us secure games. So I don't think that's a bad pick based on that. But obviously I want kind of a bit more offense in a way, but that's okay. I'll take a full-on defensive guy. Athleticism is not the greatest. Basketball IQ is not great. Potential is a B, though. So I think that's a good pick. Having potential, at least like a B for a late first rounder. Yeah, he could maybe become something for us. Obviously, it's going to take him a little bit. He's probably not going to get a ton of playing time early on, but hopefully he could develop. So not a terrible selection. We'll just skim through the rest of this first round as well. Snow was a 73. How good was he? B as well. Okay. Makes sense, but he is a little bit older technically than Carroll. So, yeah, I think our first pick is not bad, but obviously there's probably some other good players out there too that we could have maybe looked at. Tough to say. Who was the guy I was looking at? Was it Willis, the other guy I was looking at and saying maybe we should take a chance on him? I can't remember if it was. I can't remember if it was or not. He's also a good post defender. If it was him, C- potential. I'm not sure if it was him or not, but I know we were looking at some other power forwards. So that's interesting. Anyway, second round, let's see what we got here. Any interesting, good second rounders? There was Sid Grimes. How good was he? Because we know we looked at him for sure. B- potential. I mean, that's not bad. That's good for a second round pick, but not as good as our power forward, so I think that's an okay pick. What about Ellis Payne? How good was he? Was he the guy? I think he might have been the guy I was looking at. Yeah, I think he was because he's 20. Yeah, God, we didn't take him. He's only got C- potential, so that's why you don't take a risk like that. Sonnet, who was another one of those power forwards, A- potential. Oh, he is 22 though already, but damn, Sonnet could have been a really good one to take. He's more of a post defender, but right now he doesn't really have a lot of good attributes, so probably will take him a bit to grow, but still. Did not know about him. Jeremic has a potential second rounder, 67 at 20. God damn, that would have been the guy. That would have been probably the guy to take. An A potential second rounder, and he's only 20. So shout out to the Heat for finding that great power forward. I don't think we really had our sights on him at all, so damn. And then our second rounder, Buchanan, is only a 69 at 22, which is pretty low, but he does have some good positives about his game, which I think is a great thing. I don't know what his, obviously his potential right now, but his inside scoring is not the best. It's not terrible. Mid-range shooting and three-point shooting actually look okay too, so I think he could be a good depth player off the bench too at that point guard position. His playmaking is not the best. His perimeter defense is as good as the rest of his team pretty much on average. So I think that's good though as well, because it does fit our mold of this team. We're technically like a higher scoring offensive team that plays perimeter defensively too. I think that's good, but his rebounding is terrible. Post defense is bad. Athleticism is bad. IQ is bad. Potential is only a C. Damn. Well, he could outgrow that potential for sure, but only having C potential and being a 69 at 22, he's probably not going to grow much, but he could still maybe simulate okay with those offensive grades, my guess. So I'll take it, but definitely was hoping for maybe a better selection there, but I think we couldn't have gone wrong. So, because the other point guards we had interest in, or all the other point guards in the draft didn't even get drafted, so there's interesting. There was another Semenko in this draft class too, which I didn't even realize. Going to the Spurs pretty late. Doesn't have any ceiling though, or a good ceiling. So, anyways, that's the draft. Let's get through the rest of this offseason. Rookie signings. We're obviously going to be signing both Carroll and Buchanan. Team/player options. Obviously, we're going to be accepting everybody. So Goodwin is going to get another extension as well. Wright and Semenko, of course. So we'll sign those guys all back up. So that's all good. Qualifying offers. We're going to be sending a qualifying offer, obviously, to Carl Bishop. We're going to have to sign him to a lot. Walter Reese, we're going to have to send one to him too. He's expensive, though, but we're going to send one. Wennington is going to get extended. Lloyd's going to get extended. And I think for now, we'll let go of those filler players in Brown, Hardaway, and Anderson, but we might need to sign some of them again. So let's extend those qualifying offers. And now we have moratorium here. Now we have moratorium. So who do we got to give a big contract to this year? We're not renouncing rights to Carl Bishop. What are you smoking, game? Is it just not because we don't have the cap space or what? God damn. I'm never letting go of a good player like that. Let's make sure I don't have anybody's rights renounced that shouldn't. Because obviously do not want to lose anybody good here. Cap hold on Jennings and Wennington. We don't need to cap hold Zach Anderson. And we need to make sure we cap hold Walter Reese instead. Yeah, that's all good. Perfect. Okay, so let's advance on that. I hate that I have to keep on adjusting this occasionally, though, because we're not renouncing rights to anybody big. We're not doing it. Yeah, it's good. It's probably because some of these guys are going to get paid a shit ton, but I don't really care. They need money. They need money. Yeah, that's good. Let's advance on that again. And last day of moratorium. We're not renouncing rights on him. Any of these dudes that are big. We're just not. So that's good. Boom. And now we're into free agency, obviously. We need to think about offering contracts. Can I offer a contract to Bishop already in here? I don't even remember when I can. Let's see. Where is it? Front office. Contracts. Contract extensions. Okay, so those guys are for next season. Man, we have some pretty big contracts coming up at some point in time, but let's get through this. We're not renouncing rights of Bishop or Reese. You could stop doing that game. I don't know why it does that every single time. Like, I'm literally going to have to go through 12 weeks and continuously take them off the renounce right part. Like, I'm not renouncing rights of Carl Bishop. He's our he's our only good center pretty much on this team. Like, we could run if we wanted to Westbrook as a center, but I ain't letting go of Bishop. I ain't. so you could stop trying to pressure me into it. And we'll accept whatever qualifying offer gets thrown his way because there's going to be some other teams probably interested in him. Yeah, there's 16 offers for him right now, so we're going to have to pay him some big bucks probably, I would assume. He's going to get, yeah, probably like close to a max deal or some shit. I honestly don't even know. Let's get rid of that. And can I offer him a contract too? Oh, yeah, I can. Let's just get him signed. 5-year deal, $40 million is what he's trying to get. Let's just offer him what he wants. Get him signed. And yeah, he's going to accept that already. Perfect. That's good. Everybody else is still on cap hold, so I just want Bishop signed so I don't have to worry about it later. Might as well get that done. Okay, now we can get through the rest of this offseason a little bit quicker at least, since it's not telling me to run outside and stuff. Oh, apparently Walter Reese got an offer from the Suns, and we'll be able to give an opportunity to match the contract. We're obviously going to match that. That's only a $3.17 million. That's way cheaper than his last contract, so we're obviously going to match that every day of the week. That's very cheap, so I'll take it. I'm surprised the team went after him, though. Maybe he just fit their mold a little bit or something. And we are almost through this offseason part, which is good. And there's Wennington on board, $8 million is expensive. Lloyd on 5.8. And that means we just lost a player. Huh, that's interesting. I don't know who we just lost. Like, who did I just lose? I got to stop this recording, I think, and then I'm going to continue recording because I need to look back in the footage and see who I just lost. Or actually, first and foremost, let me go back to the free agency part. Can I go to free agency still here? Because I think we just lost somebody to free agency like we did last year. So I want to make sure that we don't end up losing somebody like we did with Aldridge. I didn't even know who it was that we just lost. Can I look at free agents? I don't think I can. Okay, give me a second, guys. I just need to make a cut. All right, so I figured out who it was. It was Jennings that we just lost, and Jennings is a really good player off the bench, so I need to make sure I sign him. So we'll have to do that at the start of the season. We'll have to worry about that after the fact. But anyways, in terms of our growth from our team, this is obviously some fun stuff, so I'm excited to see who ends up growing. But let's remove my face so you guys can see everything. So Carroll, it didn't grow at all. Obviously, Buchanan won't yet because we just drafted him. But Carroll's just staying right where he is, which is completely fine with me. We had the shooting guards. Rex Wright went up to an 86, so he got an absolutely mountain of growth, and he's looking fantastic. A lot of his attributes have gone up a ton too, so he's going to be really good. Like, him as like a guy that's playing sixth man playing time is absolutely absurd. So shout out to Rex Wright. He's got A+ potential, and he's growing like one. He's one of our better players now, I guess, at this point. We head to small forward. Semenko is up to an 89, and Evans went up to an 88 after 1 year in the NBA. Holy crap. Okay, well, we're going to have a friggin' killer of a roster at this point. We might not even need, technically, to bring back Jennings, but I still want to. But that's absolutely absurd. So crazy growth from both those guys. And then Wennington went up by 1 point. Goodwin went up by a point. So good to see a couple guys in the depth department also growing a little bit. And then we had the power forwards. Westbrook actually dropped off a little bit in mid-range shooting and athleticism already. But he is still the same overall. Lloyd went up by a point, which is good. And there is Carroll, of course, as well, who we just drafted. And in centers, Bishop went up to an 89. All right, so we're going to have a really good starting rotation based on that. I'm excited about that quite a bit. So there is our player growth. Because now if we actually look at our team, like our rotation is going to be likely Carroll, Semenko, Bishop, Evans, and Westbrook, I think, with Wright being the sixth man. And then our bench is going to be a little bit lower end as well. But literally having a guy like Wright being that sixth man is insane. So we're going to be really good, I think, next season. Like, we could be one of the best teams in the league, potentially, based on that. All right, well, let's advance. Summer League, let's get this to fill out automatically, as we need to make sure that we get Jennings back here. So, when is our first game of Summer League? Let me just make sure that we get to it, where is our team? We don't play till the 6th or something? Yeah, we don't play till this game against the Bulls, so let's just go through that. I don't really care about Summer League as much as I did earlier on. It looks like we just went through 2 games accidentally. So we did beat the Warriors, 92-83. Leading the way in that game was a guy that's just a filler player, I guess, but Buchanan dropped 10 points. Not bad. And Carroll, which I think this is the other Carroll, right? Yeah, Edward Carroll dropped 6 points, 12 rebounds. All right, so get some good rebounding from him. That's pretty much his strength. So, and against the Bulls, we end up winning 107-82. We had Buchanan drop 13 more points. Lloyd had 12. Carroll dropped another 12 rebound games. So, seems like Carroll definitely does have a good strength in rebounding, which, like I said, it can be pretty useful for this team off the bench, but I don't know how much playing time he's going to get this year because we're really good. All right, let's go through this game against the Rockets. And we end up losing that game, surprisingly, 101-96. Leading the way again was this Wright Foreman dude. He's just a filler dude, pretty much. But Goodwin on 12 points. We had Buchanan on 12 again, Lloyd on 11. Carroll had another 10 rebound-ish game, so or good rebounding game. So yeah, Carroll I think is definitely going to help us in an area that we were already kind of good in with our center, of course, but I think he could be a decent option, like just to help us hold on to those leads. So don't mind that. All right, let's get the rest of Summer League simulated. I don't know where we're going to be seated. We are going to be seated as the 6th seed, and we're going to be taking on Orlando, who is 27th. Let's see how we do against them. We do beat them. All right, so that's good to see as we move on in Summer League. Leading away in terms of actual prospects, Buchanan with 15 points. Yeah, Buchanan's actually pretty good offensively so far in Summer League. So I think he could be an okay player despite his potential. Like, he's not going to be like an all-star type of player, but could give us some decent points off the bench. Maybe. So, all right, game against Memphis now, who is the 11th seed. Let's simulate through that, I guess. Let's just go simulate round so we can get that all simulated up. Let's go through this game against Memphis. And we beat them as well, so we've moved on to the quarterfinals of Summer League. Final score in this game was 121-114. Buchanan led the way again, 19 points for him. Goodwin dropped 18, nice. Yeah, I'm really liking the way Buchanan's playing offensively. Obviously, I don't think he's going to be like that fully in the NBA, but Summer League, he looks like he's a good player. All right, who do we play next round is the question. The answer to that is Detroit, who was the 19th seed. Let's see if we could beat them. And no, we can't. We've been eliminated by Detroit, unfortunately. And it was mainly because of this Peterson guy, which I think he was just, yeah, he was a second round pick. Damn, 23 points. Buchanan dropped 20 for us. So, yeah, I think Buchanan was definitely the MVP of this. And why did he drop down to a 65? Wasn't he just a 69? Or am I just losing it? Yeah, what the heck? Oh, maybe he was a 69 just for the summer or what? Like, why did he just drop off in all these overalls? I am very, very confused on why that is the case. Maybe because we just lost. Maybe it's morale related. I don't know if there's morale in this game, but that is kind of strange. Anyways, let's get the rest of the Summer League simulated. Who ends up winning? Milwaukee, the 1st seed, ends up beating Golden State, the 10th seed. So, Milwaukee on top over Golden State. All right. So there is that. Final few things of this offseason. Let's see FIBA friendlies just for fun, just to see if anybody on our team is there, which it does not look like it, unfortunately. Nobody's on USA or Canada. What about the other teams? Spain, just trying to see if we have any representation in FIBA for fun. Not seeing anybody so far. Greece, I don't think we have any Greece dudes anyways. Philippines, probably not. France, just trying to see if there's any representation. Brazil, no. Puerto Rico, no. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have really anybody. South Sudan, damn. All these names. Australia. Sid Grimes is already on Australia. That guy just got drafted, so that's kind of surprising. But yeah, nobody representing any of the countries for our team, I don't think. All-Star selection. Where's the All-Star city going to be this year? Where is it going to be? Miami. All right. Miami, Miami, Miami. Interesting. So there's that. All right. Auto-generate rookies, of course. And that means we're up there at the start of the season almost. Yeah, we're very close. And like I said, we need to make sure we sign Jennings as well. So can I sign free agent still? Do I have roster space for him? How much players do we got on a roster out of curiosity right now? We got 2. I guess, oh, Buchanan was injured in Summer League. That's why he dropped off a bit. And it's just day-to-day with a strained right hip. So hopefully that doesn't mean he's injury prone. But did not expect him to get injured. Anyways, so 2, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I think we might still have 12. I feel like we have roster space to sign Jennings. I'm not too sure, though. Can I go to free agents now, if I'm not mistaken? Let's see. Upcoming free agents, contract extensions. I always forget where free agents is on some of the stuff. But I gotta make sure I get Jennings back if I can. I feel like I want to have him back, but I guess I have to go advance next season first. Alright, so we'll do that, and we'll see if he's a free agent still. Hopefully the AI teams don't just randomly pick him up, because he's a good bench player. That's why I kind of want to have him back, if possible. Where is... oh, there's free agents now. Perfect. So, let's look for Jennings. We just got to go alphabetically at all positions. I don't remember what position he plays even, so that's why. But let's just skim through this and see if we can find him, bring him back. And if we can, that is, because I think we have space still. I'm trying to see if there's a part on the screen where it says that we have the max players, but I don't see it. Where is Mr. Jennings? We're almost probably close to his name, I would assume. Oh, yeah, there he is. No, not him, not him. Oh, he's not there. Where is he? He's not there. I thought we got rid of him, so he must have signed somewhere else before the season. Can I go all teams, I guess? Yeah, I can, right? Let's find out where he signed, I guess. That's kind of annoying that we lost him, because I didn't even have a chance to sign him, because I thought I would have been able to bring him back. Oh well, like I said, he's a good bench player, but I was kind of hoping we'd hold on to him a little bit longer. But I guess with some of the prospects we have, it kind of makes sense to let go of him a little bit. But it just kind of sucks, because I kind of wanted him to be on this team still this season. But he didn't accept the qualifying offers, so he must have signed somewhere as a free agent. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, he signed with the Brooklyn Nets. Well, I mean, he's signing with a pretty bad team right now, because they did just draft first overall, but he might get good playing time with them, so yeah, that sucks. What is his contract looking like, too? Wow, he's actually getting paid some good money, too. I mean, he is a decent bench option, 13 to 14 million. So, yeah, it sucks to lose Jennings. I thought I was going to be able to re-sign him, but he decides to end up leaving to the Brooklyn Nets instead. That's okay. That's okay. Hopefully we don't have to face him off in a finals or something. But let's get our team set up anyways for the season. System proficiency. We're 4-star now on perimeter centric, so that's fantastic. So obviously that's still going to be our go-to system. Coaching game plan. Let's get this set up here. So this is what the coach recommends, and I think it's pretty close to what we want. I think the only things I would change here, though, are the minutes a little bit around. Yeah, I probably would lean to more something like this. So, Carroll, Semenko, Evans, Westbrook, Bishop, right off the bench playing 27 minutes. Wright's really good at times, too, so maybe he should get some playing time, but I'd prefer to probably start Evans. Lloyd is that 7th man getting 17 minutes. Williams is a filler player. Why did it sign me Jalen Williams? God damn it, game. I don't want filler players that are good. So we got to let go of Williams, Kevin Porter as well, because those guys are just trying to make my team too good. I got to let go of Williams and Porter Jr. I don't want filler players that are actually good, so let's go do that. I didn't even see that they signed me those guys. But Jalen Williams, get the hell off my team. You're a cool dude, but still. And then Porter Jr., you're not going to be a part of this team either. Goodbye, sir. All right, there we go. So now we will have also some more roster space. So I could sign some lower end players. So probably should sign 2 lower end players because of that. So let's go back to free agency, I guess, technically, and sign some players now. It kind of sucks because literally we could have had Jennings, but they decided to give me some filler players instead. But it is what it is. So free agency, we want low overall players on. Doesn't really matter which position. Actually, what positions do we need them at? Might be important. So any lower ends, we probably need at least a center. I'd say maybe another center and another point guard, maybe, or maybe even just 2 centers would be fine. So yeah, let's go back to free agency and bring in a center that has a low overall, like this Richmond dude. We'll just bring him in on a 1-year deal. And then also we need, like I said, maybe a point guard we'll take. Yeah, I'll just take the Steve Henderson dude. Why not? As that other option. Perfect. All right, so we have some low-end talent signed up just to fill out the roster. Let's go back to coaching game plan. I feel like now our system proficiency's probably changed, right? No, it's still 4-star. Okay, that's good. So it did not affect us losing Jalen Williams and all that, but let's readjust this rotation again. So swap the 2 of these guys, swap this over, swap the minutes down there, and put this back up. I want this at 30. We will give Wright 28, I guess. But yeah, Lloyd could get 18 minutes. Wennington could get 15 minutes off the bench. Reese on 11. Carroll on 9. That's about our top prospect that we just drafted. Let's maybe take away a minute from Wright. And then give it to Carroll, so Carroll could at least get 10 minutes. Goodwin would not be getting any minutes. That kind of sucks. Same with Buchanan. Can I send these guys to the G? Or what? I wonder where I could do that. But, yeah, I think those are the type of guys we want to be playing. I think Buchanan in the G League is probably not a bad idea, based on how he was during Summer League. So, if I go to a roster here, and go to our point guards, can I send him down to the G League? Untouchables. How do I put them in the G League? Maybe I can't. I don't even know how I move players to the G League at all. So if any of you guys could let me know that for next episode, maybe. But yeah, our roster is really good though on paper now. Like if we go to power rankings, does it have a power ranking before the start of the season or anything? Power rankings. No, it's just maybe it does based on last season a little bit. I'm not too sure because the Wizards did win the finals last year. Yeah, it's probably based on how it was near the end of last year. I'm not even sure. But what was I going to take a look at? I was going to take a look at the draft for sure too, but I'm pretty sure we're probably close to being one of the best teams in the league just based on our rotation. I don't think I could really look at other teams' rotations. I can, I think, but yeah, this should be a really good team. This should be a really good team. There's no reason why we shouldn't be a playoff team unless some substantial injuries, but hopefully people are healthy this year. Actually, if we look at the injury report thing, injury history, that's what I mean more. I just want to see if there's been any crazy injuries. So Carroll only has had his twisted left ankle. If we head to Bishop, he's had a right finger hairline fracture before. Semenko had a sprained left foot. Evans had a stomach virus, so he's been pretty good. Westbrook had a sprained left foot, which can be aggravated. Right ankle for Wright. Looks like there has been a good amount of players that have had some past injuries, but they should be okay for the season at least. So I'm just hoping that they don't re-aggravate something, because some of them can be aggravated. Like Wennington, for instance, has a sore right knee that currently lingers, apparently, which is interesting. But yeah, a lot of these can be aggravated. Some of them not so much, of course, because it's just like a stomach virus and all that. But there you go. Final thing, let's take a look at the draft class. Not that it matters too much because we will obviously be drafting later on this year, probably. But the top pick this year is potentially only a C+ guy, so this might be a lower end draft class, obviously compared to last year, but it is a power forward in Dunleavy, projected to maybe go high up. There's also Dave Bryant as a small forward. Yeah, I don't even know what this class is going to be like, but there's that. Anything else we need to take a look at? I don't think so. I do not think so, but yeah, I think this team is going to have a big year. I think it's going to be a big year. Like, if we're not a team that gets to an NBA Finals, I'd be surprised. Almost. But it would come down to injuries and health and all that. But, like, that top six is absolutely insane. And then it obviously drops off a little bit. But Lloyd's not a bad player as off a bench. Wennington's not really. Reese could put up some good defensive stuff. Carroll, I'm kind of interested to see if he could just get some rebounds when he plays because he's not going to do much offensively for us. I would love to see if there's a way to get Goodwin Buchanan to play in the G League, but I'm not too sure if there is because Goodwin is decent too. But right now he doesn't have any playing time. So I guess it is kind of good that we let go of Jennings, but Jennings would be fantastic in a 7th spot, but unfortunately we end up losing him. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory MyNBA. So in next episode, we're going to simulate the entire season. And if we do get into a playing round spot instead of a regular playoff spot, we'll simulate through that as well. But I'm expecting this team to be probably a top 3 team in the conference this year and probably a top 5 team in the entire league. So hopefully everything works out well and hopefully we stay healthy as well too. So think that below and I'll see you guys next time.